Welcome back to part 2 of the silver cell anode filter recovery video. This has been allowed to settle overnight. You can see there's some silver nitrate crystals that have formed in our beaker because it's a highly concentrated solution of silver nitrate in there. So I probably should have diluted that last night when we shut things down, but we're going to deal with that today. But first, let's take a look inside of the silver cell here and look at the crystal growth after about 24 hours. It looks pretty good down in there. It's pure silver crystal that grows in the silver cell. That liquid in there is silver nitrate solution. What I do is I dissolve pure silver crystal and then form an electrolyte that is concentrated at 150 grams of pure silver per liter of liquid. Alright, now what we'll do is cover up this opening. I'm going to feed some more impure silver shot into the anode filter basket here. This will produce about 5 tray ounces of silver per day in that neighborhood. Before I get started, I noticed on my stannous chloride, this stuff has been in here since 17 July. So what we're going to do is we're going to make us up a fresh batch of stannous chloride testing solution. Carburetor spray. This will take the writing off of the glass, not leave a residue. I'm going to write today's date, 18 June. I'm going to add about 25 milliliters of distilled water. I'm going to pour out about 1 gram of stannous chloride crystals. About that much. Bought this back in 2010 and served me that long. Now I'm going to add some pure tin shot. I bought this on eBay about 10 years ago. I still got half a bottle left. So we just put a few pieces of that shot into our jar. Now we'll put some hydrochloric acid in here. The recipe calls for 30 drops. That's probably half a milliliter or something like that. I don't think you can overdo it here, but about 30 drops of hydrochloric acid. Put the lid on, shake it up, and it's ready to use. Alright, now we're going to test our stannous solution. That's a little bit of platinum, 1 gram per liter concentration. This is going to be our palladium, same 1 gram per liter concentration. Get a drop of that onto our test paper here. Now we're going to grab some of our freshly prepared stannous and let's put a drop on each of these. Here's the platinum. You can see you get a nice orange stain in the platinum. And here's our palladium. It produces a brown stain that will tend to turn green as it sits on there a while. Here's the test that we did last evening that turned green with the old stannous chloride testing solution. And here's our newly prepared stannous chloride testing solution. Now that this is settled, I'm going to draw a little bit up into a dropper here and add it to this beaker. This will be highly concentrated with silver, so I'm going to dilute it a little bit. And now we're going to add some hydrochloric acid and see if we get all the silver to precipitate out as silver chloride. I think we got all the silver out of it now. We'll dip a piece of filter paper in here, get a little of the solution on there, and let's put up some of our freshly prepared stannous chloride testing solution. And I don't see any reaction at all. Okay, that's weird. I would have expected to see some palladium at least in this solution that we've been treating with nitric acid, but I guess that's not the case. I don't know what to do here. I'm kind of making this up as I go. My thinking is to get this silver solution off of here. So what we're going to do is vacuum off all the silver nitrate solution out of our beaker. Alright, we're starting to get down to the bottom here. These are all the pure silver crystals, or I mean crystals of silver nitrate. And I'm starting to draw some of the solids up through this suction tube now. So I think I've got everything out of here that I can with this vacuum system. Here's what's left in our beaker. Those are silver nitrate crystals. Not quite sure what to do here. I'm kind of making this all up as I go. What I think I'm going to have to do here is add some distilled water. That's what I got in this jug right here. And we're going to have to dissolve these crystals and then let this settle out so we can get that silver nitrate solution out of there. A giant pain, man. Yeah, there's solids down on the bottom. Those crystals will go right into solution very easily. But I got a ton of solids yet down on the bottom of the beaker that have to be dealt with. My goodness. Am I glad that I don't have to do this for a living. Next step is try to filter these solutions and get the solids out of them. But first I need this flask. This is the solution that we filtered out in part 1. It's going to be full of silver. I don't think there's going to be any other precious metals in here, so we're just going to add this solution to this beaker that's got some copper in it. And we're going to cement this silver out of this solution here. The silver will cement out on those pieces of copper. Then I'll rinse the pure silver powder out of here. It'll be about 99% pure. We'll melt it into shot and run it through the silver cell. This is the silver that we're cementing out. I added this about an hour ago, and it's made some very beautiful silver crystals forming on that piece of copper in there. Just wanted to get a shot of that. It's fairly spectacular looking. Pure silver that is cementing out on these pieces of copper in here. Gorgeous. Looks beautiful. This is what was in the filter from the first filtering that we did in part 1. I'm just going to add this to my paper storage. I'm using one of my specially prepared filters that rides up the inside of the Buchner funnel so that we can capture 100% of the solids from our liquid. We'll start with our solution that we pulled off with the vacuum. It'll have fewer solids in it. We'll pull this through first. I've got all the solution pulled through this filter. It took about a half an hour, and so and there are very few solids in this one, so I'm thinking that this big beaker up here that's got a whole bunch of solids in it is going to take a long time. I'm going to take our filtered solution here and add it to this clean beaker. Now we'll get set up to continue trying to gather our solids into this filter. We'll start going ahead and pouring the solution from this bigger beaker. The goal here is to get all this solution off of the solids in this beaker, gather the solids in this filter. You can see it's pulling through real slow. So while we're waiting for this to pull through the filter, what I've got here is a little jar of dimethylgloxine dissolved in some water. And I'm going to grab a sample of our solution that we just filtered out of here. And I'm going to add some dimethylgloxine to this. Add a little bit of this dimethylgloxine to our solution. If there's any palladium in here, this will form a precipitate. And we'll be able to tell if we're going to get any palladium out of this filtered solution or not. Here's the results of our DMG test, and we do have a little bit of yellow precipitate in there, not much. And so now what we're going to do is I've got most of the solution off the solids up here. I've got it pulled through this filter, and now what we're going to do is we're going to get set up. We're going to add this filtered solution to the filtered solution up here. Now let's set this back up. Get ready to continue getting the solids out of our big beaker up here. Alright, here's our big beaker. Here's our solids. I'm going to go ahead and start adding this to our filter now. It's like jet black. Like a thick fluid. Alrighty, I think we've got as much of the black solids as we're going to get from this group of silver here. There's still a ton of silver, probably 20 troy ounces in here. So now what we're going to do, I'm going to set this back up here, and we're going to get ready to continue dissolving out all the silver out of that beaker. I need to make some room in here to work. So thankfully I've got this plastic cabinet that I bought. It's on wheels, and I can just kind of roll this out of the way here and let it continue to draw on this flask and make me some room so I can get in here and work. I'm going to continue to use nitric acid to pull all this silver, put all this silver in solution. So what I'm going to do is, this is our filters that we added some nitric and some distilled water to, and I'm going to use this now and just add it to this silver that's in this beaker that I still need to dissolve, and we'll use this to continue to dissolve the silver out here. I've tried mechanically separating the remaining silver in here from the slimes, and I just could not get it to work. Got plenty of nitric acid, so I think this is the best way to proceed here. Just use nitric acid and we'll dissolve all the silver out of here. You can see the nitric from those filters has immediately started to dissolve the remaining silver in there. Now what I'm going to do is, I think what we're going to add some more water to these. Now I'm going to put some nitric acid back here into this jug and see if we can extract some more of the precious metals that may be in those filters back here. We've got this on a rolling boil. No fumes. I think all the excess nitric in there has been consumed. I'm going to turn the heat down. I'm going to reach in here with my stirring rod here, my glass rod. There's still just a few little pieces left, but we're going to go after those after we filter all the solids that we've got collected so far out of this beaker. I'm going to pull this down off the heat and let it cool off a little. I've got all the liquid pulled through now. What we're going to do is, our solution back here is still warm, but I think we're going to be in good enough shape here to start pouring this hot liquid. It's not hot, but I mean it's warm, right through this same filter. We're going to try to filter all the solids out of this liquid through this same filter. Okay, this is looking good. That solution is pulling through that filter. The filter's already loaded up with black solids, so the finely divided stuff that's back here in our beaker should get trapped in the material that's already loading that filter up. And we'll be able to tell by the color and clarity of the filtrate down in our flask. I need to swap these flasks. This one's getting full. We are almost there. I've just got a little bit left in our large beaker. I'm going to add that to the funnel now, the filter. Yikes. Still got some solids up here. So we may be doing some more nitric acid boils to get the rest of that stuff to dissolve. Man, it's looking good, man. That's nice chunky pieces of precious metals that we're collecting in our funnel here. Now you can see we've got quite a bit of metal left in there, silver, but there's also some black material. Alright, we're going to see if we can get some of these pieces out of here without having to dissolve them and use up a bunch of nitric acid. Picked a bunch of chunky pieces of silver out of there. And these are silver bars that didn't dissolve completely in the anode filters. We'll just add those right back into our current silver cell. What we have left in here is mostly just small granules of silver. I'll put this up on the heat. And we're going to add some more nitric acid now. And go ahead. And we're going to dissolve the rest of this stuff out of here. This has been on boiling now for about 45 minutes. Let's squirt a little bit of nitric in here, see what happens. That was about 2 milliliters of nitric acid. I don't see any reaction at all in here, so what I think we're going to do is we're going to pull this down off the heat and let it cool. It's almost 8 p.m. and I've been at this since about 10 a.m. I think what we'll do now is go ahead and pour the rest of our solids into this filter. Oh, look at that murky black. Oh yeah, we got down to a powder down there in the bottom of the container now. I'm just going to rinse all this into the filter. I think we have us a nice place to conclude here, part 2. I've got all those solids out of that beaker. And we're getting the liquid out of there, pulling the silver away from the solids that are in this filter. Once all the liquid is pulled through, I'll rinse this out real good. And this will be our material that we're going to refine. Down here, I've got some silver bars that were undissolved in the anode filters. And I pulled them out. We'll add those back into the current silver cell. I've got a filtered solution right here that's going to contain precious metals, mostly silver, but there might be a little bit of platinum group metals in there. Same with this beaker back here. Here's my filters. And what we'll probably do with those, we'll burn those when we do our paper filters. And then here is our cement silver from part 1. And it is still cementing out in the solution here. Just wanted to pull this up and show it to you. That's the cement silver that's collected on our piece of copper pipe. And there it did. It fell off right there. And what this will do, this will conclude part 2 of the silver cell anode filters recovery and refining video. Thank you for watching.